Good evening, SportsZonians. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I am Mike Aglioloro. I am your host for this is SportsZone. Coming to you live like we do each and every week here via the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Radio Network. We got a good show for you tonight. Hopefully, Dave Hastings and Eric Tressler will be with us tonight, but that may still be up in the air at the moment. But one way or another, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got some baseball to talk about. Bryce Harper is still a free agent. Nolan Arenado, who is going to be one of the big-name free agents next year, is no longer on the market. He has signed an 8-year, $260 million extension with the Colorado Rockies. So we have that to talk about. I think the Rockies made a very good move there by locking him up long term at 27 years old. You know, I called Machado one of the top 5 players in the game right now. I would definitely put Arenado in that category as well. Arenado probably doesn't get the credit of some other people in the majors because he plays in Coors Field, but I definitely think he's deserving of that. And we got a whole mess of other stuff to talk about too. But right now, he is with us after a 1-week absence. And in at the last minute, Eric Tressler, how are you tonight, my friend?
I'm good, Mike. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being able to join us tonight. I've missed you, man. I haven't been able to have you on the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been crazy with the wedding coming up, and we're buying a house and a lot of stuff going on. It's just been insanity. I'm actually calling you in tonight from the car, so.
Oh, well. Hey, dude.
One way or another, I wanted to make sure I made it on tonight.
And I am happy to have you on tonight, my friend. And seeing as how you're on, and this is we can say what we want here. What's going on? Do you have a gift registry for your wedding? Something online where I can buy you a gift online?
I think we might have something on Bed Bath & Beyond, but
okay.
I'm not sure what's there. And we also have Macy's. So
okay, you need to text me this information at some point over the next couple of weeks. You need to text me this over the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now that I got that, because I had texted you about that like 2-3 weeks ago, and you never answered me. So I'm cornering you on the air right now. So now that we got that taken care of, let's move on. So you were not here last week, so you did not get to talk about Manny Machado's 10-year, $300 million contract. So we have that. Bryce Harper is still a free agent. And then today, Nolan Arenado, who is going to be a free agent next year, probably going to be one of the top names on the market next year, signed 8 years, $260 million extension with the Colorado Rockies. So you got any thoughts on these contracts here?
I do think the Machado contract was too much. The Arenado contract. See, I'm more of a fan of that contract than I am of Manny's, and I'll say why. It's because the years are shorter, committing to them less time. I'm more of a fan of a 6-year deal than I am an 8 or a 10. But I do prefer the 8-year deal and Arenado's deal, I guess. Both are great players. For Manny, I mean, really it came down to it's all about the money. Arenado, he never got really to free agency, right? They signed him a year early.
Right.
But Machado, for him, it really came down to the money in the years. He wanted the longevity in the contract. I guarantee you there were deals out there that were shorter. It would have paid him probably as much annually, and he wanted the longevity. He wanted the same thing. It was the same thing when Cano signed with Seattle. The Yankees offered Cano 8 years, and, you know, he wanted the 10 with Seattle. So I don't know. I don't love the Manny deal. I'm a better fan of the Arenado deal, and I'm still a little surprised Harper's not signed. But now seeing Machado's contract and seeing Arenado's contract, it's hard to believe that Harper wouldn't command more than both of those guys. So I imagine that he probably will, and the Phillies are probably going to overpay. And really, I mean, I think it's getting to be a case of he doesn't want to sign with Philly, but nobody else is offering him that kind of deal. I think it's kind of Philly bidding against themselves at this point because I don't think there's anybody out there that's going to necessarily give him that longevity the way that the Phillies would.
Yeah, and we can definitely get back to that in a little bit because I tend to agree with you. The Dodgers are starting to get back into what I've heard. But we do have Dave Hastings on the show after all tonight. Dave, thank you very much for joining us tonight. How are you, my friend?
I've been better, but I wanted to at least hop on for a couple minutes with you guys. So,
well,
how's everybody doing tonight?
We're good here. Erich is back with us too, so we got everybody here. But I tell you what, you only got a few minutes. Let's switch to football real quick, and then me and Erich can always go back to baseball in a little while here because I think the football news. I don't know if we want to talk about the Robert Kraft thing from over the weekend, but for Dave's sake, because he is here, we have two Cowboys who are facing possible season-long suspensions here. Randy Gregory has been indefinitely banned by the NFL once again. And then there's news that David Irving may wind up facing another suspension. I believe this will be his third suspension in the last 4 years. David Irving is, of course, a free agent, so we don't even know if he's going to be back with the Cowboys. But, Dave, what were your thoughts on those?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, the Robert Kraft thing, when it's all said and done, the man has enough money, it's going to get shoved on the table and turn into nothing. And maybe the NFL does something, but he's like best buds with Goodell, so I don't really picture anything happening there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't see much out of that other than, I thought it was great that he got arrested in Florida, and it was probably a Dolphins fan cop that did it. So, that's really all I got for that one. But wait, Randy Gregory, I mean, for me, I honestly just think that, the guy has problems. There's no other way to put it. It's been well documented. I mean, when you found out what they did to get his ass back together to get him to be able to play this year, he genuinely has problems and he needs help. And football should be the least of his concerns. David Irving, on the other hand, just seems unremorseful, unregrettable. He just thinks it's everybody else's problem, not his. He's in Hollywood doing something, and he's talking shit to reporters, telling them to mind their own business. And good riddance to him. He's a great talent, but he's his own biggest problem. So, whatever happens to him, that's his problem. Randy Gregory, I just hope he's able to get, his life together because that's really a lot more important than the game of football.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the shame of it is these guys actually really did produce last season for the Cowboys when they were on the field. But I don't even think the Cowboys were planning on bringing Urban back. And with Gregory, I definitely agree with what you said on that one. So I tell you what, because you're only going to be on for a limited time here, do you have anything else you would like to talk about tonight, Dave?
To me, one of the stories that kind of stuck out to me that I saw today was after the loss last night for the Lakers in a game that they should have won. LeBron James comes out after the game and he's, covered, saying that, they need to get over it. And if what happened during the trade deadline push affects them, that they're working for the wrong franchise. And, his whole little spiel about that. And then yet when you watch the tape, there's nobody playing less active defense than LeBron James. Mm-hmm. And, I'll always openly admit he made one of the greatest defensive plays I've ever seen in my life with that block in the finals on Iguodala. So I really think, he has that defensive capability. We've seen it, but it also proves why he's never made an all-defensive team or never won Defensive Player of the Year because he just doesn't give it to you night in and night out. And from some of the highlights I saw people sharing on social media today, you're talking literally looks checked out on defense and then throws his hands up and looks at his teammates like, what the hell did you guys do? So I think it kind of shines bad on LeBron the way things are unfolding for LA right now and less on the quote-unquote lack of talent that they have.
That's an interesting point. Erich, what you got for that?
I got a whole lot on what Dave's talking about here. I mean, we'll go back to the football stuff eventually because we just do. But on this point, I don't know. I can't. LeBron James needs to stop crying. I've never seen somebody who's supposed to be the greatest player in the world cry as much as he does. It goes from flopping to off the court. Don't yell at your teammates and be like, you guys are distracted. You just tried to trade away half of the team. Or how can they not be distracted? Every one of their names from Kuzma on down when it was in a trade scenario to pull in Anthony Davis upon your wishes. You know what I mean? Don't get mad at them because they're mad at you. You came in and decided you wanted to change the organization. Guess what? You're going to piss off some people along the way doing that. Don't tell them to grow up. You grow up. Become a better leader. And this is one thing that I've heard over the last day or so, too. LeBron, and I mean, you can test this back in his time in Cleveland, he's never really been a full leader. I don't even know if he was a leader in Miami. I feel like D. Wade was more of that leader role. He doesn't have that in him. And I think that he's not leading in the correct way with this young team. He's not molding them correctly, and he's just worried about what kind of talent he could bring in to put alongside him. And I'll be honest, as of this day, this moment, I'll be the first one to say it. I don't think LeBron James is the greatest player in the world as of this minute. I don't.
Yeah.
Now playing in the NBA.
Oh, right now? Okay, so who do you – well, I mean, that's kind of an arbitrary statement because, I mean, if you think about it.
It is, but let me tell you, I'll take James Harden over him right now any day of the week.
I'll take the Greek freak
and
over both of them.
Exactly. That's what I mean is right now LeBron James is at a stage and point in his career where he is 34 years old, and he is no longer the best player in the league.
Okay, that's fair.
Or 35 years old. He's not the best player any longer. He's past his prime. I think we've officially hit a point where LeBron James is past his prime. He is no longer that player that can take a team on his back like he did in Cleveland, like he did in pretty much just Cleveland. Put a team on his back and take him to the finals. He can't do that with this team. Can't do it. He's fine. He's not even going to make the playoffs this year, and I think that's embarrassing. I think that's embarrassing for the Laker franchise. I think it's embarrassing for LeBron James and his reputation as supposedly one of the greatest being compared to MJ, this and that. If he doesn't make the playoffs this year, I don't want to hear another MJ comparison again.
Well,
yeah,
go ahead.
Mike, not to interrupt because I got to wrap this up. But
yeah.
I just want I'm with you guys. I also at this point I would take Durant. I'd take Giannis. I'd take Harden offensively, but defensively they're both basically the same guy to me. They can play if they want to play, but Giannis and Durant give it to you on both ends of the courts, night in and night out. Giannis to me is that kid is this. I mean, God, what he can turn into if he continues to develop on the path he's on. But I think, like Erich said, I think when it's all said and done, the performances that you've seen from him in LA, the injuries, the lack of, the ability to lead a team like that with his veteran, experience and the talent, and it kind of makes you look back and realize and say to yourself, maybe this guy was able to do all the things he's done throughout his career, and it was actually strictly based off of talent. And it kind of goes back to what a lot of us have always said about him, and something we've all really agreed with about LeBron is the fact that he has always lacked that killer instinct. And maybe it's been more than just the killer instinct, but it's also been that lack of, being a leader. And, at times you get your teammates involved, and other times you just got to take over a game and do what you got to do. And I really, if they don't make playoffs, I think it is one hell of a negative mark on his career, because that Lakers team may not be that good, but to me, they're good enough with LeBron to be able to pull off a playoff spot, at least the 8. When this season first started, people had them between 4 and 6 seeds, and now we're sitting here like they should have at least been able to pull off the 8 seed. So I really just think that it hurts his legacy. I mean, look, it's all said and done last night in a loss. Guess what? His people, his promoters, his ESPN, all those people that love riding that LeBron James coattail, guess what they all talked about today? The fact that he's the first player ever to be top 10 in assists and points. Now, don't get me wrong. That is an amazing feat to do, considering the talent that you've seen in the league over the years. That is an amazing feat to achieve. But if you actually break down the game from last night, that should not be the thing that's focused on today. And like I said, the people riding his coattails, there they are pushing that agenda instead of pointing out the fact that he literally didn't play defense, and when they scored a basket, turned and looked at his teammates and put his hands up like, what are you guys doing? So that really rubs me the wrong way. I think of the Kobes. I think of the Jordans. I think of the Shaqs, the Allen Iversons, all the greats that we were lucky enough to grow up and watch. And that was one thing I can't remember seeing any of them do, is be half-assed on one side of the ball and look at their teammates like they were the one that caused the problem. So I just think that's crazy. And at the same time, you know, they're also now pushing the fact that Space Jam 2 was officially greenlit. And bottom line is, the guy just wants to be Jordan. Can't blame him. He grew up during our generation. If you think about it, he's right in the same age range as the three or four of us are. And I get it. But if you're going to be one of the greatest of all time, the last thing you should be doing is chasing other people. And you should just be trying to make sure you leave your stamp on the game. And when it's all said and done, he's going to leave a stamp on the game. But at the same time, there's going to be things that people are really going to be able to knock on him. And he's not going to be able to go back and change that. So I just had to make sure I got that last little rant in real quick.
No, it's very true. I definitely agree with you on that. I'll tell you what. I know you got a lot to do, so I'm gonna let you get out of here, Dave. Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
Hold on, real quick. How bad does it hurt LeBron James, and can he even star in a Space Jam movie if the Lakers finish under 500 this season? Because right now they're 2 games under.
I mean, I think
bottom line is he shouldn't be in Space Jam if that happens, but it's not going to stop the movie from going. It just gives them their storyline. Because if you remember, Space Jam was tied into Michael Jordan making his comeback, and a lot of people didn't think about it or connect the dots, but my man was filming that movie while playing baseball and getting ready to make his announcement to return back to basketball. So I don't know what kind of way you want to twist this, but you can easily say LeBron James got guys on his team that just can't help him win, and he's got to bring in the Toon Squad to help him get a dub in LA. I don't know, just throwing it out there as a possible storyline, but no matter what, Space Jam 2 is gonna happen.
Which is a sad thought, truthfully. But all right, man, Dave. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight. You got any parting shot before you get out of here?
Just always glad to be able to do this with you guys. Sorry I couldn't do the whole show tonight, but hopefully next
Yeah,
week.
man, I was hoping you were going to be on for some Robert Kraft talk. I was really, Yeah, man. I haven't even started on that yet.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tight here, man. My electrician buddy's been here since 4:30, and he's still going. So, got to kind of keep some company with him, and But next week, guys, I'm here with you, God willing, and and Eric, I keep forgetting to send that RSVP, man, but I'm coming. So please mark me down +1. I'll get it out to you in the mail if you need me to, but I keep forgetting, and every time I'm on the show is when I tend to remember. So
all right,
if you haven't locked up the list and I didn't miss that respond date, please mark me down. If not,
the respond date, you haven't missed it yet. It's March 2nd. The respond date was March 2nd, so got a little time on it. But yeah, I'll let you know.
All right, thank you, brother. I'll get you guys next week, and have a great rest of the show, guys.
All right, thank you, Dave. Dave Hastings, everybody. All right, Eric, I'm still in the same boat. I haven't mailed it out. I'm coming though. So just put me down on that. No +1. It's just gonna be me. So, all right. I want to respond to a little bit of this LeBron James talk that we got into, because, here's the deal. We knew at the beginning of the season the Lakers may not make the playoffs. I don't really think that was a big shock, because we said at the beginning of the season he goes to a team that may wind up definitively being the first LeBron James team that doesn't make the playoffs in over a decade. I don't really think it's a shock. Now, you can say the way they are going to miss the playoffs could be a shock, and that could tarnish his legacy. But I feel like he knew he was coming to a team where it was a good possibility he wasn't going to make the playoffs. So I don't know how much this really hurts his legacy. But to go on,
I disagree, though. We may have been saying that on this show, but there have been a lot of people elsewhere that have been saying that the Lakers were going to contend in the West, and even if they didn't win it, they were still going to be a mid seed and create some havoc for some people and blah blah blah. And granted, we saw the writing on the wall because we saw the talent on the roster, but and we knew it wasn't enough to win. But I don't know. This team is underwhelming right now to watch.
Yeah, but I think even through all that talk, I think if you look at the writing on the wall, you look at what they got on the Lakers team, and I don't think they have a bad roster. They just have a young roster that's really underdeveloped right now. And then you look at what else is in like anybody who is picking the Lakers to be a 4 seed in this Western Conference. I'm sorry, don't ever listen to them. I don't care if that's Stephen A. or Will Kane or whoever the hell's saying it. It's why people don't take them as seriously as they probably should. Like, I like Stephen A. Smith and everything. But every now and then he's going to say something stupid. I'm not just talking naming off guys on the Chargers who were hurt and not with the team this season. You know that one clip that they showed over and over again in December. So, I think his legacy is set. He's never going to be considered the best player of all time. He's never going to be that. I don't care who thinks that. Jordan's the best of all time. Like, even when Jordan went to the Wizards, it was at a time where nothing would harm his legacy, and anything he did there really wasn't going to count against him. LeBron, he's just not Jordan. And anybody who says he is, and maybe Luke Walton has to go. No, maybe LeBron should just let Luke Walton be Luke Walton.
Yeah, what's he going to bring in? Bring in his buddy Tyronn Lue again to run the team?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just the LeBron James show.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that, but I don't know. I'm not surprised that they're battling for the 8th seed. Like I said, the Western Conference is too deep to think that a team that only has LeBron James and a bunch of up-and-coming guys, who, again, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, the center, they don't even have the center anymore because they traded him to the Clippers. But, like, they have a good team. That's not enough in the Western Conference, though, and it never was. So, I don't know. Any final thoughts on this one? We'll go back to baseball real quick, though, if you don't have anything else to add for basketball.
No, I mean, not really. Playoff push is coming, but I mean, really, it's all about the Knicks and trying to tank for Zion for me. So, yeah, I'm good on basketball for now, but I'm sure we'll get into more of it as it comes along. But college basketball is heating up.
I was going to say, let's stick with Zion for a moment because he had the injury last week. Here's my question, because it doesn't seem like what happened to Zion is going to be that serious. It sounds like something that only keeps him out for a couple weeks. If he doesn't decide to not come back this season at all, which I guess is some sort of possibility. You know more about this stuff than I do. You look at the Duke team. You look at how they've been without Zion. Do you consider Duke a contender to win the tournament without him?
Not without him. Without him, they're a good team, but they're not a championship team. I think him and RJ Barrett kind of need each other in order to win here. I don't think one could really win the title without the other. I think they're both, extremely talented. And I mean, what a freak injury. If you're Nike, is there any worse thing that could possibly happen last week? You had LeBron James there. You had Spike Lee there. You had all these people. They were selling tickets for $2,500, and 33 seconds in, the shoe blows out. Like, I'd never seen a shoe blow out like that before. That was ridiculous. The whole side of the shoe fell apart. I mean, that is embarrassing. Especially for the amount of money that Nike pours into this stuff. You should be sending your absolute best stuff to Zion, not stuff just off the shelf. That's an embarrassing look for Nike, in my opinion.
Well, you can't send it to him because otherwise you get kicked off the team because he can't accept gifts. So there's that.
No, the whole team should get top of the line. I know they're supposed to be the top of the line. They're made for Duke and everything else. But, I mean, you've got to quality control test this stuff, man. You cannot have a shoe blowout like that on national television with, like I said, the star power that was at that college game, that UNC Duke game last week, rivals any NBA game going on right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
By far. I mean, they had Super Bowl price tickets to this college basketball game. That's how big this game was and how many people wanted to see Zion. And when he blew out his shoe 33 seconds in, it deflated the whole building. Yeah,
deflated. Well, we're not talking about Robert Kraft yet, so I wouldn't say deflate too liberally. But here's the thing: is that really on the shoe, or is it just the fact that Zion Williams weighs like close to 300 pounds and he's a big dude, and maybe the shoe just wasn't calibrated to a guy that big?
No, because there are guys in the NBA wearing shit where, you know, they're that big. He's 265 or 270, but he's a muscle. It's a rock. It's not like he's, you know, made of jello out there. So, I mean, the shoe should be able to support the athlete, especially when, you know, not the first time they've made a shoe, you know, a bigger size for somebody. You know what I mean? Like, especially in the NBA. These are all practically custom shoes. You know what I mean? So, to me, it's just an embarrassing look for Nike, and it's terrible for Duke because it kills their chances and kills a kid like Zion, too, because now he's got a bunch of people chirping in his ear saying it's not worth it to come back for a couple games to possibly hurt yourself again. And, he, you know, but on the other side, he would probably love to come back and have a chance to win a national championship and get back by the time the tournament starts and whatever else. So, I mean, it's just – it's a terrible situation all around, and I don't know if you know this. Nike's stock actually took a dip the day after.
Well, I think we all knew that was going to happen. That's not.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how significant an impact that has. This kid's supposed to be the next big thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it shows you how little I know, because I had heard the name R.J. Barrett before today. I didn't know he was also on Duke until you said it. I had no idea. So that shows you how little I know.
Not only is he on Duke, but he's the number 2 pick in the league. He's the number 2 pick in the draft.
I know that.
He's right behind Zion. It's him and Zion are 1 and 2 in the draft.
I absolutely know that. I know everybody's disputing whether it should be Barrett or Zion as the number 2, but I was always under the impression that Barrett was on a different school. I never knew he was on Duke. So
yeah, and then they actually have a third guy that could go in the top 5 as well, Cam Reddish.
Okay. I can't even, what position does Barrett play, first of all?
He's like, I want to say like a shooting guard, small forward.
All right. And the guy
that position, Zion's more of a power forward, you know, center type position, power forward, I would say, position. And then Cam Reddish, I believe, is more of like a shooting guard.
Okay. So do Barrett and Reddish play in the same lineups, or is one the other's backup?
Yeah, no. They play in the same lineups. I may have it wrong. I'm actually going to double check myself right now before I misspeak too far.
Yeah,
but you know, they're both fantastic players. So all 3 of them really are, and they're going to go high in the draft.
Yeah, but I think it looks bad on Reddish and Barrett if they can't bring Duke to at least the same level without Zion. Would you agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can agree on that.
So, I'm just saying, I don't think, like, between Barrett and Zion, I know there's knocks on Zion because while he may be a power forward in college, 6'7" doesn't always play as power forward in the NBA. I mean, you have to be a special guy to be able to play power forward at 6'7". I mean, we know it. Power forward's like 6'8", 6'10".
Reddish is a forward. Barrett's also a forward, and yeah, they do play in the same lineup, so Cam Reddish is.
So Zion probably plays center a lot more in the lineups than if they're both playing.
Yeah, he plays center a lot more in the lineup, definitely.
Yeah, but again, it's the same thing. Like Zion's got his knocks, and if he's 6'7" and he's playing center, that puts Barrett at Reddish probably at about what 6'5", 6'6". So they would be guards, which are at least wings in the NBA. Right?
Let me see if I can find out what Cam's profile is.
I'll look up R.J. Barrett a little bit here because I do want to move on.
Cam Reddish is 6'8".
So Reddish is
6'8" forward.
Wow. Okay, so he's taller than Zion. Okay, that's nuts. All right. So you got that.
Why? Zion's taller than 6'8".
No, he's 6'7", dude.
Zion? I
Zion's
don't think so.
No, Zion is definitely 6'7". Like my cousin put it in the chat, but I knew that ahead of time. Yeah, no. They've tried to compare him to like Charles Barkley or Draymond Green. Yeah. So I knew that one. That one's not new news. But where's Barrett here? Barrett is also 6'7". So all right. None of these guys, in my opinion, have futures as power forwards, though. Zion would have to be really special type talent to make 6'7" play at power forward. I think Bear and Reddish.
Zion, they compare his body size and strength to like a LeBron or somebody like that. That wasn't necessarily, because LeBron's only like 6'8" or 6'9".
No, no, you might be right. Actually, I'll give you that.
I think he's like 6'9". So I mean, comparison more to that, where he's just thick and muscular and like, you know, he's just built differently than a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to describe, but he's a guy that can play multiple positions. He's a guy who has not a lot of handle, but enough. He, you know, can, like I said, I think he can defend multiple positions, and I think he can play multiple positions. So I think he's versatile. I do.
But, I mean, you know, Cousin David just put in the chat room, and I've heard this a lot. ESPN said he's going to have a hard time guarding bigger guys at the 4 or the 5, and I totally agree with that, because at 6'7", you're going up against guys who are going to be 6'9", 6'10", 7 foot, all those guys. You have to – he's going to have to be a special talent to be able to guard that, and I don't think that's something we're going to know on draft night if he's going to be able to handle it.
I'm telling you, his ability, his size and speed – make him able to defend those positions. He like I said, he weighs 265, 270, and he's built with muscle. So if you put all of that together, he can defend a guy, because most guys in the NBA aren't, you know, 300-pound guys. You know what I mean? So he's going to weigh as much. He's not going to get pushed around down low.
Well, I think it all depends on how much work he's able to put in. You know, how much dedication he's going to show. He's going to have to dedicate himself morning, noon, and night to getting up to speed like that, and every day for at least his first 3 or 4 years to be able to do that. So I don't know. Let's move on, though. I'm going to be honest. I know you said you got a lot you want to talk about in terms of Robert Kraft, but we only have about 10 minutes left here. So if you could say what you would like to say about Robert Kraft in about a minute and a half, I'll give you 90 seconds right now. What do you got to say about Robert Kraft?
What isn't there to say about Robert Kraft? Haven't we not talked about this story? It's been the biggest story in sports since Friday.
Yeah, we haven't been.
How is this like the first time we've really got into it? So, I mean, if you're going to give me 90 seconds, let me go with it.
Go.
Because, I mean, it's an absurd story. First of all, I mean, the way it trickled out, now they actually have come out and said they got full video of it, the whole act and everything. I mean, you see the pictures of the place that he's walking into. He gets pulled over twice leaving there recently. I mean, there's so much ugliness, but in the same respect, I don't necessarily have a huge problem with what he did. Was it wrong? Absolutely. But do I think that he was, like, you know, involved in sex trafficking? No, I really don't. I think he was just in for a good time. Now, why he chose a $60, you know, massage parlor in Jupiter, Florida, I don't really know. Guy with that much money, that much time, private planes, everything else, you figure he could probably get a better-looking woman to come hang out with him for a while. I mean, there's so much to this story that is just I question / I laugh at / you know, the NFL has to do something about. And it's hard because he's kind of like the poster child for NFL owners at this point. Shy of Jerry Jones, he's probably the most known owner in the NFL right now. Mm-hmm. He's been all over TV the last few weeks between parades and championships and everything else. And then you find out he was doing this on AFC Championship Day. I mean, it's hysterical to me. But at the same time, it's another shitty story about the NFL that we have to talk about rather than something positive. So it's just all around. I'm blown away by the story. I really am.
Yeah, when I first heard about it on Friday, I had to do a double take because I have the Trade Rumors app. I'm sure you know the site, MLB Trade Rumors, Pro Football Rumors, Hoops Rumors. They got one app for all that stuff. So I'm flipping through the app, and I go to close out of it, and the story catches me at the corner of my eye, and I had to go back and see it. Just like, wait, what did I just see? But, you know, I tend to agree with you here. It's not a great look for the NFL, but what did he really do? I mean, he's an old guy. His wife died 7-8 years ago. Probably could have handled stuff a lot better, but, I mean, at his age, I mean, yeah, you just want a little companionship. I don't really think there's anything wrong with that, but prostitution's still illegal in this country.
The oldest profession in the world for a reason.
Exactly. I agree with you on that. Yes. And, like you said, I don't think he had anything to do with sex trafficking or anything like that. I don't think he was aware of that. Whether he could have been more aware of that and whether he chose to ignore that, that's a matter up for debate. And the fact is, he's not charged with any felonies here. These are misdemeanor crimes. We know he's going to get off with a slap on the wrist. I think Dave said that one earlier. But, my cousin was asking if I think he's going to be suspended by the NFL, because I guess what Jim Irsay got his DUI, they suspended him for 6 games. I think if they suspend him at all, I think it's going to be for that, 6 games, because you got misdemeanors here. You don't have any felonies here. Can't imagine it being longer than that.
It's such a bad look, though, and if a DUI gets 6 games, I don't know how they can go any less than 6 games. I think 6 is the minimum. I think it could go as high as a full season. And I also think that they may get docked draft picks. I think that's the real way that they're going to hurt New England, is because they're going to fine him and they're going to dock him draft picks. They did it before with Deflategate and other things.
Yeah, but that was actually the stuff that was related to the field, though. You're really going to dock them draft picks for picking up a prostitute?
This is really? The optic of this is that bad. Now, I agree. I think we both agree the actual act of it's kind of laughable. It's not the biggest deal. He's an elderly guy. I agree, looking for some companionship. All I can hope for is, like I said, in the future that he, instead of picks and chooses which, rub and tug to go to.
Or, if he's going to, I heard this, let me ask you, if he's going to go to a rub and tug, buy the rub and tug and buy every store in a strip mall next to the rub and tug so you can control what's coming in and out so you know who's talking.
But then again, that's when you get roped into the whole trafficking thing, and that's why you don't do that. The girls are getting trafficked through there, and you're the one who owns the building and controls everything.
Yeah, all right, that's a good point. But
I don't, again, I think that there are other ways he could go about getting the same results. You know what I mean? And that's what I don't think he's really thinking through. He's not thinking of himself as billionaire, philanthropist, megastar that he probably is to most people. He's thinking, I'm just going in this place. Nobody's knowing nothing. They got him on camera. They got him every which way. They got him dead to rights.
But I do agree.
And then he's categorically denying it. It's like, dude, just don't deny it. Just own it. Just be like, yes, it happened. My bad. Get out in front of it. Denying it and whatever is a bad look. That's the thing that I have the most problem with. Is just don't deny it. Come out and say, listen, it happened. I apologize. I had nothing to do with this sex trafficking ring. I'm glad they caught the sex trafficking ring. That's never what I wanted to be a part of, blah, blah, blah. And he could have gotten out in front of this story. Instead, now he's hiding somewhere, fucking taking private planes, hugging Giselle and fucking Tom Brady, and, avoiding the media like the plague. It's just not right.
Yeah.
He got to get out in front of it.
And I'm going to go back to say, we're going to wrap this up because we only got about 3.5 minutes left here. But the last thing I want to say to tie back something Dave said, if you're going to do this, why are you going to do this in Miami? I mean, honestly, you're going to do it in the team, in the town of one of your biggest rivals. Don't do it in Miami. Go to freaking Carolina. Go to Los Angeles or somewhere the fans don't have a vested stake in your downfall. Don't go to Miami. That's a horrible idea. That's like
but do you know why, though? It's because there are so many uber rich people that live in Jupiter, Florida. Tiger Woods lives there. I mean, Michael Jordan lives there. I mean, there are mega stars that live there. That's why he's in Jupiter, Florida.
Yeah, but I think that's
for the sunshine.
But I think that's another reason why you shouldn't do this there, because they're all over the place. Everybody's well known there. Go to a place where nobody.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're all probably doing it there. And the story came out and even said that he's not even the biggest name on the list.
Yeah, I know.
The list hasn't even broke. That's what I mean is I bet you that there are a ton of major people. I heard there's one COO on the list of a major Fortune 500 company. I've heard of all, you know what I mean? There are probably such names on the list of people they have that it would blow your mind. And you would think, why would all these people do this?
Yeah, no, but that kind of goes to my point. Don't do this crap in Florida, man. That's horrible. But anyway, all right. We got about 2 minutes left here. Only thing I'm going to go with baseball. Prediction. Where does Bryce Harper end up?
I think he ends up with Philly in a long-term deal, unless some mystery team scoops him up. But I just don't think that a team like the Yankees or the Dodgers are going to offer him the years that he wants. So I'm going to go with the Phillies.
Now, I'm going to go with the Dodgers, man. I think if he really wanted to go to the Phillies, he would have already gone to the Phillies. He does not want to go to Philadelphia for some reason. And I'm okay with it.
But nobody else is offering him the years. So
Yeah,
that's the problem.
But I think if he – Cousin David said the Mets. Oh, my God. Yeah, no, it's not. I kind of want it to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think he wants to go to Philadelphia. I think in the end he'll make the deal with the Dodgers. All right, dude. Minute 15 remaining. We're going to wrap it up tonight. Eric, do you have any last words?
Randy Gregory should never be allowed back in the NFL. It's getting to be March Madness time. People, start watching more college basketball. It's better than the NBA, in my opinion, right now. Watch the NBA once the second round of the playoffs starts. That's when you can start watching the NBA. Until then, watch college basketball. Golf is even heating up. I know in a couple weeks we're gonna have the Masters coming up. Ton of fun, exciting stuff out there, and hockey as well. A lot of big trades. I don't know if you're a Ranger fan. I'm a Ranger fan.
I heard some of that.
A lot of big trades in Hayes and Zook and all that.
All right, man. So that's Eric Tressa. I am Mike Aguilera. Green Book was a good movie, but Black Klansman was better. Black Klansman should have won Best Picture. That's all for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Eric, thank you so much for coming on the show. Always
I disagree. It should have been Black Panther.
I'm going to say Black Klansman. Have a good night, all. Thank you all for listening. We will see y'all next week.